provide heat to the house. So as you can tell, it's pretty cold here in Virginia. It's my understanding this kind of ice storm happens maybe once every 20 years or so. And this is the year it happened to us. This is what's left of the chicken net and the framing that I had holding it up. If you recall from a previous video, I put it together and it held up just fine with PVC poles when it's not got tons of ice on it. So it looks like I'm gonna have to repair a few holes. I was cracking off some ice over there and actually made another hole. So once this all thaws out, which is supposed to happen in the next day or so, it's supposed to be back up into the 40s or 50s. Then I will go ahead and patch the holes. I'll zip tie them together or tie them together. Get the poles. I don't know. I don't think any of them are actually broken. I think they're all just bent. So if nothing else, I might just have to get my heat gun out and put them all straight. The good thing is when I built this net, I didn't glue any of the PVC pipe together. I just held it together by compression. And I did it for this very reason, because one thing here in Virginia is it gets really windy. And I wanted it to be able to flex and to come apart instead of break if it needed to. And so, as I walk around the entire yard here, that looks like what's mostly happened. This pipe here bent, so I'll have to replace it because it's bent. It held with the clamps. On the other pipe, the clamps were pulled out of the post, but for the most part all the rest of the pipes simply came out, which was by design. So I have a pole here that's attached to this wooden pole, but if you see down there, you can see the 45 that holds up the pole to keep the net up, it just popped out of there. And that's what's happened all around the whole yard. So the good news is currently there's enough room for the chickens to walk around. They can get to their food, which I gave them food yesterday. I can't get to their food. I would have to crawl under the gate and kind of make my way through places where it's higher. I have the food out in the yard with them in a big container, but I filled up their food yesterday, and from here it looks like it's still about halfway full, so I should be able to get to it after this thaws out today. I can't really go around and break up the ice and shake it off, because if I do that too much, I end up breaking the net, which is what I did over there. So underneath all of this ice that you see breaking up, the grass is just fine. In some places it's still green. It's not frozen or anything like that, so it's fine. And of course you hear my generator in the background running. We've been out of power since about 1 o'clock in the morning. So the house is starting to get cold. Good thing is I have a gas fireplace and I have a very large gas tank over there that is pretty much full, because we only use it to cook with, but we can fire up the gas fireplace and add heat to the house, so that's good. So we won't be out of heat, because our house runs on heat pumps. So one of the reasons I wanted to get outside today is so I could survey the damage from the trees. We did have some tree branches fall yesterday, and it looks like they did cause some damage to my fence. There's one there. That one didn't cause too much damage, but it looks like I did have several branches fall, tore up my fence. The good thing is my dog's not a jumper, so even if you're sitting in the living room with your feet stretched out between you, your chair, and the coffee table, she won't even jump over your feet. So I don't think that she'll be getting out of this, especially since there are big branches there's a big branch in the way, things like that. And this of course has torn the fence down. So I'll have to get this off of here pretty soon. I won't be doing any of it until I get my chainsaw repaired. It's in the shop, getting a tune-up. I haven't had it tuned up for about 8 or 9 years, and it was giving me a little trouble, so I took it to the shop a couple of weeks ago. They had ordered a couple of parts, and so hopefully it'll be ready pretty soon, because it looks like I am gonna have to do quite a bit of cleanup around the yard with some of these branches that fell. So I've got that one back there, I've got this one here, and it damaged the fence as well, but it didn't tear it off of the post like it did down there. Hi, big dog. Hi, puppy dog. She loves being outside in the snow and the cold. She doesn't like to get in the rain too much, and she doesn't like to take a bath, but she will get outside and jump in the pond. If she gets out of the yard, she'll run down to my neighbor's pond and jump right in it. So she's a fun dog. But if she gets out of the yard and off the lease, she's a runner. So I've got a lot of branches to clean up. This tree I might end up having to take down sometime. I've got a couple of widowmakers up in there, so I might have to take this down. And because I'm on generator power, my generator only supplies power to some of my house, so I don't have any lights in my quail house, don't have any lights in my chicken house, so that's okay. Yesterday, as I was sitting at my computer when we still had power, I was sitting at my computer and I was doing some graphics work, and I heard a loud noise. Let me see, this is all this ice. Fortunately, it comes off pretty easily. No. The dog thought I was opening the gate for her. And I was sitting at my desk, and I can see out into my front yard. This ice is crazy. Good thing it's thin. And I can see out into my front yard, and we heard a big crash. And I thought it was snow and ice falling off of the roof. And I came out here and looked around at the house, and I didn't see any ice. I didn't see anything. I was like, okay, well, that wasn't ice falling off the roof. What was it? So my son came outside and said, well, that's what it was. And it was a good thing it wasn't a snake, because it was so obvious. So we had this big branch fall out of a tree due to the weight of the ice and the snow. Now this tree was one. On the other side, I've had some big branches fall off of it previously, and I was thinking about having it trimmed up anyway. And now with these big branches coming down, it doesn't look like it's unhealthy in the tree, which is good. So it just broke because of the sheer weight of the ice. But this tree has a lot of work to do to it too, so I may end up taking it out as well. And I can see lots of little branches that are down all over the property. I mean, all over the place. There's little stuff everywhere that I'm gonna have to clean up. So my one of my Bradford pears lost a big old branch, and it just right there just broke off. My other tree lost the top of its tree, of the tree over there. So looks like there's new pine branches that are down from those trees. So yeah, we've got a lot of branches down. A lot of stuff broke from the ice. The good news is on my particular power lines, at least going out to the street, there's nothing nothing wrong. Last time we had this, we had to call the power company and say, hey, you say power's been restored, but it's not restored at our house. And that's because on these lines right here above our driveway, there was one branch that had fallen and gotten between the two, and it was shorting it out right there. So they came out with their truck and cut it down and trimmed up some of the trees a little bit. But I think eventually some of these pine trees I'm gonna have to take out of here, because I mean, they're starting to lean and we're losing branches, and as they get old and they're crowded, it's no good. So I heard Mike Dixon say the other day something I thought was really intelligent. He said, Mike Dixon, if you don't know, is the Fit Farmer on YouTube. And one of the things that he said is we need less trees and more forest. And of course that's an indicator that you need to have forest management. But yeah, as I survey the property around here, I just see tons and tons of branches that have fallen all over the place. I have several dead trees that are kind of too big for me to take out, and I'm gonna have to hire someone to take them out if I can't get to them. But it's just so cotton picking expensive to hire somebody to do it. I mean, I've gotten quotes for a single double tree over there. It's a double trunk tree. It's a pretty big sweet gum tree, which is an awful tree. It's an awful tree. It makes this. Sweet gum does this. It makes this mess. It makes these seed pods that a sweet gum throws out. These spiky things. They're terrible. They make a mess. So sweet gum to me is not a very good tree. So as you can see, I've got a lot of cleanup left to do. A lot of stuff left to do that will need to be taken care of when I get my chainsaw back, when the weather warms up a little bit. It's not so bad working out here in the cold, because I can put on my insulated coveralls, I can put on a couple of sweatshirts and jackets and stuff. And of course, when you're working, when you're doing the work, sawing up the logs and moving stuff around, you stay warm. The joke has always been that when you cut up wood, it warms you twice. Once when you're cutting it up, and once when you're burning it. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of graphics work, and that's why I haven't been doing a lot of farm work. And it's winter time. I pretty much have just been taking care of the chickens and the quail, getting tons of quail eggs. I don't have anywhere to sell them, so I've been eating quite a bit of them. But I haven't been able to find a place to sell them. I tried Craigslist and I tried Facebook with no luck. I can show you some of the stuff I've been working on. I've gotten, for my graphics business, I've gotten some vinyl that will allow me to print it on an inkjet printer and cut it out, and I have a full color decal, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And this is an example of one that I cut out, and you can see it's just wonderful. This one has a cover on it. The one on the other side, this has a clear cover on it. The one on the other side does not. And I put these on my van to test them out. And here's the one with no cover. It's on the icy side. But as you can see, it's pretty vibrant, and it's really cool because the ink doesn't come off. So this is just out of an inkjet printer, and I was able to make a graphic decal with no problems. So as far as my graphic business, I do use my van sometimes. And so wintertime tends to be where I do a lot of my designing, because I sit in my computer in my usually warm house, and I do a lot of my graphic designing, and I put out a lot of new designs, which I've just done some recently. So if you're on Facebook, then look me up. If not, I have a Square site, but it's easier just to go to my email, send me an email, and I'll send you the link to my Square store. And you can look me up at flamingeyeballgraphics@gmail.com if you want any graphics work done. I tend to do stuff that's more recumbent specific, and so that's one of the things I like to do. You can tell it's already warming up a little bit because the ice is coming off pretty easily. I mean, it's breaking apart and coming off, and so it's starting to warm up a little bit. So I'm really hoping that this afternoon I can get out there and start repairing the chicken yard. That's kind of important to get the chicken net back up. So I am grateful. The generator's running. I'm glad we had one of those. Somebody told me when we were still living in England, somebody told me, said, oh, you're moving to Virginia? Make sure you get a generator. And a lot of the houses we looked at didn't have one, but this one did. And it's not the reason that we bought the house, but I'm so glad that we've had that generator, because in the last few years that we've been here, that generator has been a lifesaver. All right, so thanks for watching. Just a little bit of update of what's going on. And until next time, cheers.